1, section 6. Okay, we're going on away from inequalities, and we're going to talk a little bit about absolute value equation. Okay, absolute value equation. Absolute value is always explained in distance. Okay, or what we're talking about is distance. Can I get a smartboard more? So, if we're talking about absolute value, we're talking about distance. Can anybody ever travel negative distance?
No.
No. Okay? I've had people say before, well, I can go backwards. Can you go backwards -1 miles? No, you can travel backwards +1. You can't. Does anybody have a tape measure that measures negative distance? No, it's impossible. Okay? So when we see those straight lines, we're talking about the distance. Okay? It's never, ever, ever going to be negative. That's impossible. Okay? So let's talk about these two numbers down here. We have 8 and absolute value of 8, which if we talk about distance, we're going to say, okay, absolute value of 8 is 8 units from 0. So it's 8. The absolute value of -8, well, if we travel from 0 to -8, it's still 8 units. So it's positive 8. Same thing if we were solving this. Okay? We have the absolute value of 8 minus 2 minus the absolute value of -14 plus 9. Well, 8 minus 2 is 6. The absolute value of 6 is positive 6. Minus the absolute value of -14 plus 9 is the absolute value of -5. 5, so we end up with 6 minus 5 is 1. Any questions so far? Absolute value. You should probably have seen it before, just not quite to this extent. Now, here's something we need to talk about. You have the absolute value of x equals 7. My smartboard isn't working, but the absolute value of x equals 7. We have two possibilities for x, don't we? So if you put x equals 7, that's an incorrect answer because x equals 7, but it also could equal -7. There's two possibilities, is there not? You could put -7 in here for x and it would be true. You could also put 7 in here for x and it would be true. You have two possibilities. Okay? So remember that when we go to the next page, because when calculating absolute values, you must always have two cases. You must always have two cases. Case 1, where it could be the positive solution, and case 2, where it could be the negative solution. For instance, if we had the absolute value of x equals 7, we said case 1, x could be the positive version of 7, or x could be, in case 2, the negative version. Either one would work. Question? No? Okay. Let's move right along. Extraneous solutions. Now, I want you to write this down, but we're not going to talk about it until a little bit later. Okay? But I want you to have the definition in the beginning, because once you see it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's an extraneous solution. Okay, but I want you to have the definition written down. Extraneous solution just means a solution that when you solve it algebraically, it comes out right, but then when you go to check it, it doesn't work. Okay, the answer actually, it's not right. We'll talk about that. Okay, so here we have an equation, and this is an absolute value equation. So look inside the absolute value sign and say, okay, if 2x minus 1 is going to be positive 5, it'll work. If 2x minus 1 is also negative 5, it will also work. So you have to have two cases. Case 1, we'll say, is the positive version. 2x minus 1 equals 5. Case 2, we're going to say, okay, 2x minus 5, or minus 1, would be the negative version. I'm negating 1 and keeping 1 positive, because we know there's a negative answer and a positive answer that are possible. So we have to solve both equations. So we have plus 1, so I have 2x equals 6 divided by 2, x equals 3.
What do you get 2x?
It's inside this red box. 2x minus 1 would be positive. 2x minus 1, the negative version.
So would it have to be -5?
No, I'm negating the entire equation. You'll see why once we move on to the second half of 1/6. I don't want you to make -5, I want you to make the equation negative. Okay? So I have negative 2x plus 1 equals 5. Subtract 1. So I have 4 equals negative 2x divided by negative 2. X equals negative 2. I want my smartboard one. There we go. So we have two solutions. Now we have to check these. Anytime you do absolute value, you must check them. Okay, tonight for your homework, you're going to have to check them. So we have the absolute value of 2x minus 1 Make sure also, before you check it, you can go back all the way up to the original problem. Okay? So I'm putting in the absolute value of 2 times 3 minus 1 equals 5. Then my other check would be the absolute value of 2 times negative 2 minus 1 equals 5. So this would give me 6 minus 1. The absolute value of 6 minus 1 equals 5. So the absolute value of 5 is 5, so that one's good. This one I have negative 4 minus 1. The absolute value of negative 4 minus 1 equals 5. So I have the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. And yeah, that's right, 5 equals 5. That one works. So both of those answers work. So for your answers, or for your solution, you would say x is 3 or x is negative 2. X is 3 or x is negative 2. Those two things will make this equation true. Okay? Yep. All right, let's try this one. I'm going to have a case, or before I can have a case 1, case 2, you have a problem that looks like this. You must first isolate the absolute values, okay? Or get the absolute value part by itself, and then you have to create case 1, case 2. Because multiplying by 3 and subtracting 1, that has nothing to do with the absolute values. It's just something they were doing after the absolute values. You have to get rid of those first. So I'm going to add 1 and divide by 3. So I have 3 times the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 9. Divide by 3. I have the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 3. You see what I did? Now the absolute values are isolated. You cannot distribute into absolute values. You can never, ever, 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 ever do this. 3 times x plus, that's not the same as a parenthesis. It acts similar to a parenthesis. It keeps the stuff inside locked into it. You can't touch anything in it, but you can't distribute. You can only distribute parentheses. So don't do that. Question? Okay? Now, I have to start with a case 1, case 2. So case 1, x plus 2, positive x plus 2 equals 3. Case 2, negative x plus 2 equals 3. Go ahead and solve both. So x could be 1 or negative x minus 2 equals 3. Add 2. I have negative x equals 5 divided by negative 1. x equals -5. So I have two possible solutions here. Let's plug them into the original equation to check. I solved one, I distributed the negative, and solved the other. All right, now we have to check our solutions. We need to check our solutions. So I have to go back up to the original problem, 3 times the absolute value of x plus 2 minus 1 equals 8. So check number 1, 3 times 1, what was it, plus 2?
Yeah.
Plus 2 minus 1 equals 8, is that right?
Yeah.
So I have 3 times the absolute value of 3 minus 1 equals 8, which 3 times the absolute value of 3 is 9. This 3 is going to be positive. Then I have 9 minus 1 equals 8, which 8 equals 8. So does the first one work?
Yeah.
Yep. Let's try the other one. So I have 3 times the absolute value of -5 plus 1 minus 1 equals 8. 3 times -5 plus 1.
It's plus 2.
Oh, I meant plus 2. I messed up. Wait, this isn't going to work. -5 plus 2 is -3. Minus 1 equals 8. The absolute value of -3 is positive 3. 9 minus 1 equals 8. So does the second one work as well? Yes.
How's that change back to a positive?
Absolute values. Remember, absolute value is always a positive version. Absolute value of -3 is positive 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Any questions? So I would say the solutions to this equation are 1 and -5. Now, let's try one more. What is the solution of absolute value of 3x plus 2 equals 4x plus 5? Well, remember, we have to make two cases since this is isolated for this equation in here. Case 1 is going to be the positive version. 3x plus 2 equals 4x plus 5. Case 2, we have to make the negative version. So I have the positive and the negative. Now, first thing I need to do is get my x's together, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. I have 2 equals x plus 5, and subtract 5. So I have -3 equals x. That's one solution. Distribute your second one. So I have -3x minus 2 equals 4x plus 5. Add 3x to both sides. -2 equals 7x plus 5. Subtract 5. So I have -7 equals 7x. Divide by 7. X equals -1. Now what?
Check.
I have to check it. Make sure you do not have a solution that doesn't work. So go back up to your original problem where I had number 1, the absolute value of 3 times -3 plus 2 equals 4 times -3 plus 5. So on here I'm going to get -9 plus 2 equals -12 plus 5. This gives me negative absolute value of -7.
You mean,
This gives me -7. So does positive 7 equal -7?
yeah. Yeah.
Are they the same thing? Would you rather have $7 or negative $7?
7.
Yeah, so are they the same?
Yeah.
No, one you owe money and the other one you don't. So are they the same?
No.
So does this solution work?
No.
What is that called?
Wrong, that big evil thing.
That big word that starts with an E, extraneous
Extraneous.
solution. Negative 3 does not work. That is not a solution. Now, do you understand the definition? Algebraically, it makes sense. We solved it and we didn't make any mistakes, but when we checked it, it didn't work. You understand now what an extraneous solution is?
Yeah.
Okay, now go ahead and check the other one and make sure this has a solution. Okay, so check number 2, the absolute value of 3 times negative 1 plus 2 equals 4 times negative 1 plus 5. So I have absolute value of negative 3 plus 2 equals negative 4 plus 5. This gives me negative absolute value of negative 1. This gives me 1. So does 1 equal 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is the only solution to that one. Questions? Did you have a question, Ashley? Oh, okay. I have one more thing I need to show you, and then I'll show you the definition. Let me let you finish writing this down.
We ain't got right now. I'm not ready.
All right, look at this. Can anybody see something peculiar about this?
There's a times 3.
Well, it's actually a negative. Sorry. It's not a negative. There we go. What's peculiar about this?
Only has one variable at the end.
Not necessarily what I'm looking for, but what?
The solution is negative.
Yeah! Who can find something for x that makes this absolute value a negative?
0.
Okay, so I have 0 plus 2, the absolute value of 2 equals negative 3?
No.
No?
Negative 1.
Okay, so let's try negative 1. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. The absolute value of negative 1 is positive 1.
Oh, never mind.
Isn't this ever going to work?
No.
No matter what you put in here, these absolute value signs make them positive. That's never going to get an answer. So if you see that, the absolute value signs are isolated. And there's a negative solution. Is that possible? No. Your answer is going to be no solution. What about this one?
So if it's equal to a negative, it's impossible.
If the absolute value signs are isolated. What about this one? Is that one possible?
Yes.
Why? I hear yeses and I hear nos. Well, before I decide, I have to do what first?
So,
You have to isolate the absolute value. So you have to subtract 4. Well, if I look, I'm still going to get a negative 7. Is absolute value able to get a negative?
No.
No, so it's still going to be no solution. Do you understand? You have to wait to check it until your absolute value signs are isolated. You get isolation and it's a negative, that's not possible. Okay? Your homework for tomorrow, and it will be graded, is in your book.